Good morning. Happy Monday. What are we at? August 2nd. Good to see everybody in here. So I don't know if you guys could notice, but I'm back on Thinkorswim. So I'm pretty excited about today. See how this goes. But finally I installed that RAM. I know I was talking about it last week. I had to put some RAM in my Mac just so I can get it fast enough so I can get my Thinkorswim software back up. And I did that yesterday, and so yeah, excited about this week. We'll go over some of the stocks in a second. Let me see who's in here already. Co-creator woke up early today. He's been running late recently. Um, and yeah, great roundtable yesterday. I was glad I was able to join it too. So for anyone who wasn't aware, Tarheel Blue hosted a roundtable on Discord yesterday with some of the mods and some other people that members of the Discord were on there talking about CLOV, and it was pretty cool. I had just got home from camping and I kind of like put my headphones in and was just listening. Um, for the most part, I've never been on a voice chat type deal like that on Discord, but I ended up hopping on and we had some fun. It was really cool. And then Tar Heel, I think he also streamed it on YouTube so that anyone who maybe doesn't have Discord or just wanted to go in there and participate in the chat was able to. I thought that was kind of cool. So, and I think they're going to be doing more of those. Tar Heel will be on a little bit. We'll ask him because I know he's got that big interview upcoming this week, so we'll probably talk about that as well. Anyone who's new in here, Mondays Tar Heel normally comes on and joins me, and we just talk about stocks in general or CLOV, what's going on in the markets, and sometimes just kind of shoot the shit. So should be fun. Let's see here. Anybody notice that Market Watch has CLOV closed at 1602? I did not see that. That is kind of weird though. Co-creator said they know it should be that. Yeah. Um, DJ's in the house. You guys are all early this morning. Everybody got some sleep this weekend. Um, let's see. Justin, Coaching Coffee. Good morning. Yeah, what's up? I'm on my second cup already. Should be kind of fun. Michael's in the house. Let's see who else is here. Jason, what's up? Good morning. Chef Daddy's here. Dan, Peter, Scotty. Oh man, I know I hit Scotty up, but I'm gonna tell the story anyway. So, for the longest time, like I created a Twitter account, for CoachB stocks or whatever, and I follow most of you guys or just like people who are in the stock market. I don't really, I'm not too great on social media or whatever, but for the longest time, I kept getting like, this Twitter one, and it was always from Scotty, and it would come up and say, "Oh, potentially sensitive material, you can't click on it." And I was trying to click and change my settings, and I couldn't figure it out. Um, and I had to go in and end up logging in on the computer side and putting in my password and changing those settings or whatever. So I finally did it. And man, Scotty was cracking me up and getting me fired up. I went back and watched like probably every one of your Friday videos from the last 2 months. Me and my neighbor were sitting in my garage while I was kind of packing the car up for camping, and yeah, that was awesome, Scotty. I got a kick out of it. Got me fired up. I ended up going and taking a shot myself, and it started off my weekend right. Um, let's see here. Yeah, co-creator. This is Thinkorswim. So this is what I just have it as 4 up right now, but this is kind of the same thing. We're looking at the 5 minute chart, RSI, MACD, and then I have some other indicators in here that we could talk about in a second too. But basically, this middle purple line now is VWAP, um, and the top and bottom lines are kind of like the true range or the range on the day. And a lot of times you'll see a stock come down and hit that. I like to keep it up, mostly when I'm like day trading, because you'll see a stock come down and hit this bottom and then bounce off of it. you know, and it fluctuates throughout the day too. Like if we go back to Friday for CLOV, um, you know, but you could see early on in the day we came up and tapped this top line and then ended up coming back down, trading around VWAP when we broke down, bounced off this bottom somewhat, came up, but then you know it follows the stock, so the bottom gets lower and wider as the stock continues to move. So it doesn't necessarily mean a stock can't go higher or lower, but it'll typically bounce off these lines. So I always keep those up, just you know, throughout the day, kind of keep an eye on things. But and then my moving averages that I have set, I know I couldn't remember it before. I was like, I think I used the 8, or I think so. What my settings in here is the 9 EMA and the I think this was the 21, the 20, 9 or 20. Sometimes I use 21, but either way, yeah, those are so that's my settings that I usually have on Thinkorswim when I trade, and so I just kept these up, and it'll start wide. I know it looks kind of funky in pre-market with all these lines and stuff, but as soon as the market opens, we'll see that kind of widen out, and it should make more sense. And then over here, I got I messed up my time in sales. Hold up. Hmm. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so this is the time and sales data over here. So this is like when you hear people refer to the tape, you know, and like you know, buy orders and stuff actually printing to the tape. This is basically what it is. So, you know exactly what time. So at 6:08, just now, the most recent order was a sell order for $8.12 for 3 shares, and then you could even see what exchange it came in on. So, like for instance, D I think stands for maybe Nasdaq. Let me see. Oh, ECN. So that's an electronic communications network. You don't know exactly what ECN it came from that was reporting it, but you could kind of, so like I know Q is NASDAQ. I think K is EdgeX. So there's different exchanges and you can kind of see the price action coming in. And then down here is level 2 data where you could see orders and what exchange they're coming in on. The only thing I don't like about Thinkorswim in comparison to like some of the other ones that we've been using recently is Thinkorswim doesn't show you all of the orders unless somebody else can tell me how to pull that up. I'm sure there's a way. I could probably do some research on it when we sign off. But basically, what it's doing is it's showing you the top order from each exchange. So Arca, you know, 814, EdgeX 814, but you don't really get to see the underlying, you know, like levels of what else is in there in those orders. You know, if there's, and what I mean by that is, you know, yeah, we have an ARCA order for 200 shares at 814, but there might be one for 10,000 shares sitting at, you know, 815, and we won't see that because we're seeing the top one for ARCA. So, you know, a little bit different reporting the way that Thinkorswim does it, and that's probably the thing that I like the least. But I'm sure that's something that I can go in and customize. I just have to figure that part out. All right, let me get back to this the chat. Sorry, that we can kind of pick it up. Um, Rabbit Yo, what's up? I don't know if I've seen you in here before, but thanks for joining. I appreciate it. If you are new or maybe first time in the chat, I love how everyone kind of contributes to the chat, and you know, while I'm going through this too, what's up? Haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, Dan, I got that RAM. I got it all set up. SMJ, what's up? Um, SRT's in the house says, "Can we get a Green Day or two?" I know. I think it's coming. I mean, if we look and kind of go back to, let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Um, get all these studies off. I mean, even last week we kind of came in with maybe I do want my studies on. Where's my weekly view? We still kind of finished green on the week last week, so we're coming off 2 green weeks in a row. It just hasn't been a lot of price movement, you know. We did though. We did gain last week. That's not a red candle there. We did have a nice little gain last week. It just seems like lately, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday we'll get our run ups, and then Thursday and Friday, that's when we start to get that manipulation by for the options chain and trying to pin us down to max pain. And that's where we end up seeing our decline, but we have been inching upwards. So, let's see. Ben's in the house. Good morning. The boss is here with the elbow coughs. I've been seeing those, for a while. Coach, does your setup allow you to stream in 1080p? You know what? I'm not sure. I think it does. I got to go in there and check it out. Christina, good morning. Wayne Thompson, what's up? Good morning. I think I'm catching up now. Franklin, Shrimply, Fluffer, what's up? Everybody's here. All right. So, you know what? This brings up a good point, too. Like, kind of all these familiar faces in the chat and everything. So, on Friday, the whole reason, I know I just said that story about looking at Scotty's Twitter. So my neighbor was here and we were just talking about like the channel and stuff, and he listens a lot too, and so we were just talking about, he's like, man, it's like you got a little bit of a community now, right? Like every morning you're saying what's up to the same people. It's always the same kind of faces, and I was like, yeah, man, like I look forward to it. Like it's like now, I'm starting my day off, come have some coffee, and I always know I'm going to see co-creator and Scotty and Fluffer and SRT and everybody else, and it's like, it's kind of like the morning routine. And he was like, which one's Scotty? Because he doesn't really look at the chat, and that's what brought me to the Twitter account. But we were just, and he's like, yeah, like Lisa, this and that, so every it's like everybody that's always in here, and it's kind of a good feeling just to kind of kick off the day and just be sitting here, and like co-creator just said, we're family, right? And it really feels that way. Like you kind of have an idea. I know Chef Daddy's always getting into his daily trades, and ooh. Michael, let me fix that right now. Michael said I have the stream title at 8-2. Yeah. I actually thought I was feeling awake this morning too. I'm gonna check. I'll fix that right now if I can. Let me see if I can figure that out. But anyways, so I had this idea. Hold on. Let me just change this real quick. I did that the other day too. I think it was on 726 or something. Because what I do is I take the previous day's description and stuff, and then just like alter it and change it up a little bit every morning. But I did that the other day where we were like halfway through the stream, and I realized it said like 722, and I think the date was actually like 729. But I just fixed it right now. It should be fixed now. Thanks for pointing that out, Michael. So anyways, I had this idea just about like, this community and everybody, and I don't want it to necessarily be something for CoachB stocks, because I think it could be kind of bigger than that. Or not just about, like this channel, but it would be kind of cool because I know a lot of you guys also go into like Tarheel's channel, and some of these others. So what I was thinking was, and if anyone's into it, that I thought would be kind of cool, especially once I go back to work, is maybe setting up like a Discord server. And I'm very, very new to Discord, but I just thought it would be kind of cool to like, you know, and again, it doesn't even have to be CoachB stocks. We can come up with a different name, but just to have a Discord server where like now throughout the day, I'd be interested, like even in the mornings, if Chef Daddy go in there and kind of let me know what stocks he's looking at this morning. I know some of you guys are trading other stuff, but we can kind of like, still kind of throughout the day, if anybody wants to, talk about, whether it be CLOV or something else. And I know there's the CLOV Discord, and I don't want to take away from that. But the reason I was thinking about it was just because a lot of us have been in here every morning and talking about these different stocks that we're into. And I know everyone's into other stuff besides CLOV. And that way, it can kind of be a place to like share ideas and, hey, this is something I'm getting into, ask questions, and all kind of learn from each other and just kind of communicate throughout the day. if necessary, if anybody wanted to, like ask a question at 10 a.m. when I'm not streaming, Tarheel's not streaming. So anyways, that was my idea. I was gonna look into maybe setting something like that up. I thought it would be pretty cool just because we do kind of have like a community built here now and everybody can be part of it. And as the stream grows and more people start coming in, and if they want to jump on there, I thought that would be pretty cool. All right, let me catch back up. Stars is here. Good morning. Um, Skip says, can a good overall market day be the catalyst for a squeeze? Potentially. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it go both ways. Like there's been days where the market just tanks, and kind of your meme stocks or your heavily overshorted stocks, go in the opposite direction. And my theory on that is, and I think we've talked about it on here before, is like when the market does bad, a lot of these, institutions or hedge funds or maybe even retail investors who are short, let's say a CLOV or a GameStop or something like that, now they're losing and they're trading on margin. So, if they got Apple stock and Apple goes down by 5% in a day, and they're trading it on 10 times margin or something like that, that's a 50% loss in their Apple position. And, that's going to force, intraday margin requirements. And so now they're going to have to like scale out of other positions that they may already be profitable in or losing money in as well. And that might create shorted stocks to go up. So that was one theory that I had, where we move opposite the market. But then also, yeah, like if overall, like the SPY right now is looking to gap up by about $2, $1.70 in pre-market. And if today, I know futures were looking pretty good. So if today all of a sudden we start to see the market go up, because we have seen that CLOV sometimes will lift up with the market and drop with the overall market. So in the case of CLOV, I mean, we have this options chain that is, extremely loaded up. This is August 20th right here. Ton of open interest. I love Thinkorswim that we're looking at updated, like this volume. See how the volume zeroed out? That means all Friday's numbers are in. Where like on Webull, we had to wait sometimes until market open. But anyways, because this option chain is so loaded up, and it's not just August. I mean, we have like August 3rd, August 13th, August 6th is starting to build up. We talked about this last night on the roundtable too. But if you look in some of these monthlies, the $12 strike in September, November. Anyways, what I'm getting at is, because the option chain on Clover is so loaded up, really what we just need is that push past max pain. And once we get that push, and it could be that the markets kind of lift us up with it, and that gives us that extra 20 to 30% that we, or 20 to 30 cents that we may need to get past like 850 or get past 9. And then, we could start really seeing some buying coming in. So I think it could be. And then earnings are right around the corner too. And I think earnings are going to be big for us, whether it be the lead up to earnings. Sometimes you start to see people buying in before earnings because they feel like a stock is undervalued and they want to get in before the earnings get released. Because after that, then everyone's going to want to jump in, right? If it's good earnings. When a stock is overvalued or trading at value, sometimes you'll see a different story, like maybe a lead up to earnings and then a tank right after earnings. Earnings are pretty tricky, but that could be a potential catalyst as well. But yeah, I think there's definitely like, a good day in the market can be a potential, catalyst or bump that we might need to then, where some whales come in and push us over that edge. That's all we really need, I feel like, is just a little push. And then the option chain will take over in itself. Ben says we need to grow this CLOV community. Yeah, so that's the one thing too. So if you go down in this video right now, like I have the link to the CLOV Discord for sure, and I think definitely join the CLOV Discord, join the CLOV subreddit. There's a link in there as well because we do need to grow the CLOV community. I was just thinking more along the lines of like this community, as in like us that are in this stream every day and kind of the same group. And we'll talk to Tarheel when he jumps on too and see, because I know kind of the same group goes into Tarheels, but the thing about like the CLOV Discord, and you could be on multiple Discords too. I think I'm a member of like 3 of them now. But the thing about the CLOV Discord and the CLOV subreddit is you can't talk other stocks in there, right? Understandably so. And that's where I was thinking, just kind of like a little community one for like this chat or this stream where um, you know, we throughout the day or like I said, in the morning before the market opens, if there's anything that anyone's seeing, whether it pertained to CLOV or to like a different stock, like, hey, this stock's running. What do you guys think about this? And I mean, I'd love to see everyone else's input too. And like, especially once I go back to work, if it's in the middle of the day and, like I'm on in between class periods, I could hop on there and kind of, see what's moving. And I don't know. I thought it'd be kind of cool. So I'm going to look into that and try to get it set up before I go back to work, which is actually in about a week. I know. I think I might have to go back next Monday. School starts on Wednesday. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll still be streaming in the mornings, but I just thought that would be kind of fun. Chef Daddy says, anytime I was doing some shopping and was really close to getting a mic and my pewter. Yeah. Yeah, Chef Daddy, I'd love to get you on too. I heard you on the what was it I keep forgetting the round table last night. I heard co-creator on there. I thought it was really fun. I like hearing everybody else on there too. Um, but yeah, you know what? SRT had an idea too. Like, what I'd be down for is if like again, all you guys in the community, if there was like maybe we could even establish a day where you know every Wednesday someone new comes on here and ask questions. Maybe I could learn from you, and hopefully I could help you out, with stuff as well. So either way, let me see here. Co-creator says, "What was the biggest takeaway from the roundtable yesterday?" Um, I missed like the beginning of it. So you kind of probably know when I jumped in was like really near the end. I think I jumped on the YouTube and just said, "Hey, I'm late. I just got back from camping, but um, I don't really know. Definitely a lot of differing opinions and." One thing that I learned, I guess my biggest takeaway was I think it was Blah Blah was saying about how, I had said that the squeeze was over or something like that, and it kind of made me more, I guess, aware of maybe what I say in those videos that I publish and how they could be taken out of context. And again, he wasn't like trash talking or nothing, but I had seen someone else in the subreddit say that too, like, oh, this guy said it was over a long time ago. And so I guess when my biggest takeaway is like, so maybe when I am recording videos to maybe really think out what I'm gonna say and explain it in more depth instead of just making a comment. Because what I meant at that time was like, at this very moment, I don't see a gamma squeeze setup and I don't see a short squeeze setup. But this was, I mean, shit, back in like May or something. And then obviously that stuff all changed within the next couple of weeks as the option chain started loading up, short interest got higher, cost to borrow got higher, all that kind of stuff. So, but I didn't really explain that. I was just in my mind, I was thinking like right this very second, I don't see it, but we could see how things play out throughout the next coming weeks. But I guess some people watched that video, back in May and thought like I was jumping out of the stock or something like that when it was actually the opposite. That's when right after that video is when I opened up my biggest position long term. So I guess that was my biggest takeaway from it, from myself personally, was just to be more, explain more when I make a comment like that, like where I'm actually thinking. Yeah, Ben, I'm gonna do that right now. I just looked this morning and Max Payne is actually at 850. Um, and I'll pull that over just so we could look at it. But and we saw that change last week too. I think it was at 9, and then as the week went on, it went down to 8. But right now, Max Payne's at 850, and that's something that I just noticed too. We'll go back over the option chain real quick, but they added in 50-cent strike prices. I think we already had them at on these weeklies 850, 950, 1050, but I started noticing, and maybe I just not paying attention, but like I was looking at August 20th. There we go. And they added in these 850 strike prices into the monthlies. Those weren't there previously. They were only in the weeklies. And now they got them in the monthly as well. So all the way up to what is it, 1750, but it kind of jumps around. There's no 1415 or 1650, but they added in or the 1750 I guess was already there. And so was the 2250. These ones with the zeros were the new ones. So they basically added in an 11, 10, 9, and 850 strike on the August 20th. And let me see. Let me jump out here to September. No, just at the August 20th. So yeah. So Max Payne this week is 850. And Max Payne, what that is let me pull that over. So when you look at an options chain, right, you have calls on one side and puts on the other side. And basically what's happening is, and here's just another way of looking at it, but over here where you see red at the $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8 strike, there's way more puts than there are calls. So as this price drops below 8 and keeps going down, market makers stand to lose money by the amount of puts that are going to go in the money. And then when you look at the other side, calls start outweighing puts once we get past $9. And so same thing, market makers are going to lose more money the higher we go past, like that $8.50, $9 strike. So Max Payne theory is basically saying that, right here for this week at 850 is where the market makers can make the most money. If they can pin the price at 850, everybody over here is going to lose. And everybody over here is going to lose. Now this, so yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, that's what it is. And it does seem, like pretty much that's what ends up happening week after week. Not all the time, but most of the time, that's what they can pretty much pin the price to. Let's get back over here. I'm just looking at, you guys said they did a share to cost split, I believe. I don't even know what stock. I must have missed something in the let me see. Still don't understand how CLOV darkpool covering is at zero effect on the price. So, and I was gonna actually, I kind of, we were on vacation over the weekend, and I was packing and had a bunch of other stuff going on. But my next couple Chalk Talk videos, my plan is, well, first I was gonna, oh yeah, my Thinkorswim has a bell too. I don't know if you guys heard that or it just came through on my end. But so we got the market open now. Let's see where we're at. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to get there we go. Get all my stuff set up. All right. So where are we going with that? Okay, so dark pool covering. So when you make a purchase in the dark pool, and I was gonna make a video, I'm gonna make a video about that in part of that like Chalk Talk series. But I wanted to go over some of the other stuff like bid ask and how level 2 works and how price movement actually works. But before I get into it, but basically when you make a purchase on the dark pool, you're not affecting the stock price, right? So they can go into the dark pool and buy their shares there and go return them to whoever they borrowed them from and use that to cover. That's absolutely possible. Um, the difference, or I guess where things start to get a little funky, and if you understand like kind of how they work, is in order for them to make a purchase on the dark pool, there needs to be a seller, right? So someone needs to be willing to sell those shares to them. If no one's willing to sell those shares, and the market maker wishes to, um, he could potentially create fictitious shares and give them to a hedge fund, and do that, and basically he'd now be taking on, assuming the liability or the risk, by creating that liquidity in the dark pool. But then he's still on the hook, right? At the end of the day, those shares need to be delivered to the clearinghouse. So it would basically create a failure to deliver, which gives them the opportunity to like kick the can down the road a little bit. So now, um, let's say I'm a hedge fund, I need to go return 1 million shares. I can go into the dark pool and buy those shares, um, if somebody's selling them in the dark pool. Usually those dark pools and those ATSs are for bigger institutions. So it could be that they're buying those shares in the dark pool, let's say from an institution that wants to sell, like a Schwab or Fidelity, or somebody who's getting rid of their shares. Like we just saw Fidelity, I think, sold what, this was probably about 2 weeks ago now, but sold a fairly large amount of their position. I think that could have went through a dark pool, and then, I mean, the good news is them selling all their shares in the open market didn't drop the price, right? But then on the same token, if it was a hedge fund on the other side of that transaction, now they were able to get those shares without driving the price upwards. So it kind of, it kind of works both ways. But those transactions happening off the dark pool, I mean, it does leave it open for a hedge fund or someone to go in and buy their shares to cover their short position without really driving the price up, if people are willing to sell, right? But if no one's selling and they have to buy those shares, um, now it becomes an issue, because even if they get them in the dark pool and it's through, market maker providing liquidity, now that market maker still has to go buy those shares later. I hope that makes sense. And then they would have to go accumulate those shares in the open market or somewhere else. And really, they're supposed to do it by, within 2 days, because it's a T+2 settlement to get them over to the clearinghouse. And so if they don't do that, now they can, just kick the can down 35 days from now, T+35 for a market maker. They get 35 days to come deliver on their failure to deliver. So it's kind of a weird process. And that was going to be kind of where I'm going to go with the chalk talks, with these other videos. And like I said, I was just really busy. I have a list of the videos that I want to get into, and kind of like how I want to, the order I want to put them out in. And my intention was to make some on Thursday and Friday, but I should have some free time today. And so my goal is I might just record like 4 or 5 of them and then just kind of like slowly release them over the next couple of days, instead of just dumping them all out at once. But I am going to get kind of deeper into that. Yeah, Michael says we were anticipating a gamma short squeeze around June 18th. Yeah, and then it ended up kicking off on June 8th. I mean, so if you look at that, August 20th, like those options play regardless, like throughout the entire chain, they all come into effect. So the fact that it's just always constantly loaded up gives us the ability to really blow up at any time. We just need a little bit of upward movement. Let's see here. 6-8 spin drifts in here. Do we see any short squeeze potential for CLOV coming up? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because here's the deal, like kind of what I just explained, like with buying and covering through dark pools, they can do it, but we still haven't seen any upward momentum, and we haven't seen like a bunch of institutional selling. So even if they're getting those shares in the dark pool, all that's going to do is kick the can and create failure to delivers. And at some point, those shares need to be delivered, right? And so at some point, they're going to have to buy those on the open market, unless there's someone willing to, get them unless there's someone willing to go in and get them, sell from their supply. But either way, I think what we've been seeing with the decrease in short interest is basically an increase in naked shorting. So I could naked short and use the failure to delivers to kick the can down the road. And then also like the rehypothecation of which I'll get into, that's a whole nother story. But basically borrowing shares from someone else who already borrowed them and then turning around and delivering those back so that it looks like I covered my position, but I'm still short in the stock. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but at some point they have to cover, right? And so, and with volume drying up the way it has been, I think today we're already, what, 5, 10, 15. Are we on a 1 minute? Oh, my bad. I didn't realize I still had the 1 minute chart up too. Let me pull this back up. So we're about 10 minutes in right now, and we're only at 740,000 volume. So volume's really starting to dry up too. And what happens when volume dries up is you could really start ripping through this level 2 order book with very small orders. So if someone came in right now and wanted to buy 100,000 shares, they're going to move this price. Yeah, SRT, that's good. That's good knowledge. And like I said, that was my biggest takeaway. And I know there was probably way more better information that was in that yesterday. It's just I wasn't listening the whole time. But my biggest takeaway personally was that I got to really watch what I say or explain it in way more depth to kind of make sure that my point is getting across and people don't take it the wrong way. Zeke's in the house. What's up? Genetic Nate, good morning. Levi says some dry powder saved up for whatever happens after earnings. Yeah. I mean, even if you look back at the last earnings, they were able to like punch the stock down on that day. Which is kind of the whole, behind it. Like they want to come in and try to suppress the stock price to scare us off, right? So earnings come out, earnings are good, and all of a sudden on that day, intraday, the stock got hit hard. And what's that going to do? That's going to make some people nervous. Like, oh my God, why are we going down? I thought earnings were going to be good. And then they're going to sell, and that's what they want. They want you to sell so you can drive the price even lower so they can cover at a lower cost. So yeah, I would imagine that on earnings day, I mean, unless we just see some incredible volume that just like that's the day we actually start ripping up, I would imagine on earnings the stock will get hammered down a little bit. The only difference is like where are we going to be at on earnings? If we're at $9 on earnings and they're able to knock it down to $8.50, well then you could have got a better price now. If we're trading at $8 on earnings, and they're able to knock it down to $7.50, then absolutely, that would be a better buy opportunity there. Someone just texted me and said Tesla was running. I don't know. I've never really kind of been on. Oh yeah, it is. Wow. Right off the open from 700 to 713. Huh. I know 700's kind of been like a level of resistance, I feel like, for Tesla. And so breaking through that, if it can hold, it might actually start running. Here, I'll pull it up here because AVXL isn't really doing shit. Here we go. All right. Co-creator, you're absolutely correct. When it comes to CLOV stock, you have to be willing to wait, be patient, and understand that with or without a short squeeze, could take 5 or more years to see triple digits. Yeah, I mean, I would actually, in terms of triple digits, like if we're just talking $100, I'm thinking, and this could just be me being overly optimistic, but I'm thinking like a year and a half, on its own merits, to basically, because and the reason I say that is obviously you have like the star rating, right? No one knows when or if that's going to happen, but shit, an increase in star rating for CLOV to get to like 4-star rating, would all of a sudden make this stock worth way more, because now they're making $500 more a month, I think it is. So I mean, that would be a huge in, like getting the share price up. The other one that I think we're getting hit pretty hard right now too. What are we at? 8. We've been seeing a lot of support though popping up off of 8. So just kind of see how low they can drop this right now. But it seems like we're getting a little bit of an attack right here. Starting to get into that oversold territory on the RSI. Um, but yeah, I mean, but then on top of that, like just the expansion, right? So like they doubled their numbers, or their growth, right? Like expanding into those counties, and that's just a little fraction. And to me, with the team they have in place, I would imagine that they're going to start doing more of that. We're going to start seeing, them expanding even more and growing their numbers even faster in the coming months and years. That's my expectation. So I don't know. I would say more like a year and a half. I'm thinking for like triple digits, but shit, I'm willing to wait 3 years or whatever if that's what it takes. But I think by that time we're going to be seeing the stock price in like the $300 level. Again, that could just be me being way overly optimistic. Yes, if we want to see a squeeze, we need everyone to buy shares and hold, right? Because when we buy shares and hold, we're taking shares out of circulation, right? Like institutions, Schwab just bought a bunch of shares. I guarantee you that they're going to lend those shares out to short sellers, because that's how they make money, right? They sell covered calls against their stuff, and then on top of that, they lend those shares out to people who want to short the stock, and they get paid interest on it, and then they make money as the stock grows. But they're willing to hold these stocks for 5-10 years, and that's just a small fraction of their portfolio. So they're not looking for the short term gains. Um, so but if we buy those shares and we hold them and we turn off, the lending part of our app on our apps, like, don't lend my shares out, then that's taking more and more shares out of circulation. So then it's going to, that's why we're going to start seeing it dry up a little bit. Now, when they have to, cover their position, there's less shares available for them to cover through. So we're basically, taking the liquidity out. Who tells them they have to cover in at one point? Nobody. It's all up to them. I mean, I guess if you're getting margin called or something like that, then you would kind of get told that you have to cover. But um, for the most part, basically it works like this, right? So if I'm shorting a stock and I go out and borrow 100,000 shares from, let's say, Interactive Brokers, whoever. Now I borrow these shares, and there's a cost to borrow. The cost to borrow today might be 2%, but as the stock increases and the shares become more, more and more people want them, and they become harder to borrow, and now all of a sudden, Interactive Brokers might up my cost to borrow fee and make it like 100%, which we saw recently, or like 150%. And they start, making it like these extreme prices. Now it starts becoming expensive for me to short the stock, right? Now, because I'm paying interest every day on this loan of shares that I took out. And even if I'm ahead in my trade, meaning, let's say I started shorting this stock at $10 and it's trading at $8.10 right now, I'm ahead. I have $1.90 profit there. But, do I really want to hold this short position and pay that interest? That's the type of thing that would that would get us to where people are like kind of feeling the pressure to cover, but no one's gonna make them cover. The only time that would be is, let's say you got into like naked short positions or something like that, and now you have this failure to deliver. Now you can be forced to cover, by like the clearinghouse, the DTCC. Um, but even then, I think they could just continue that cycle and just pay fines. But it becomes more expensive for them. The one time that they would absolutely be forced to is if they were getting like margin called, and at that point they would either have to come up with cash to meet their margin requirements, or just, give the shares back, like force covering, liquidation, things like that. Um, Sorry, I got it. All right. Okay. Just checking my portfolio real quick to see what's going up. I didn't really get into these other stocks this morning, but and we don't have to really spend the time going over them too much. But like DraftKings, is one of my plays that I'm doing, or that I kind of got into, is more of a long term. They have earnings coming up, I think, on Friday. Um, and so potentially could see a rise or a decline, a little bit of volatility, after hours on Friday and Monday. But I think after that, I'm expecting this stock to continue to rip upwards. BNGO, for anyone who's kind of in that BNGO play with me, it's more of a long term one, but we are up 1% on the day, trading above $6. Looks like right around the $6 mark. But they have earnings on Wednesday. And traditionally, BNGO, Wednesday after hours, BNGO traditionally probably moves about 10% post earnings. So 10% or more. So we could see some huge movement coming out of BNGO this week. That's what I'm hoping for. And I think the straddle price. I'll go look at that in a little bit. But I think the straddle price on BNGO might be like 22% right now. So seems like people are expecting a big move either way, whether it be up or down with that stock this week. Looked like I just glanced over and it looked like AMC was kind of moving too. AMC up 3.5% on the day. DraftKings up 2.5%. CLOV, we're pretty flat. I think 0.06%. Nothing major yet. Why do you think shorts want to attack CLOV so much? Yeah, I think there's a couple, a variety of reasons. I mean, one, you have CLOV is a SPAC, and I think that because SPACs, um, they don't allow old money to make money off IPOs the way that you know traditional IPOs did, and I think that a lot of people don't like SPACs in general because of that. And I think a lot of SPACs started getting attacked. I mean, from the very moment that CLOV hit the market, I think it was getting attacked because of that. And then there's Shamat, and I think there's some people that may want. It seems like all of his SPACs have been getting attacked now for better part of a year. But then on top of that, yeah, there is like the Humana thing, and that there's a lot of the bigger like institutions that are shorting CLOV, have big positions in Humana and some of the other companies like them. So, at the same time, I think it's uh, a variety of reasons, but they're all pretty legit reasons. Like I think I could see it being attacked for any and all of those reasons. And I think CLOV kind of threatens the healthcare industry, right? Like with or health insurance, I should say, because with their Clover Assistant and what they have kind of going for them, and the fact that they're a technology company who also happens to be a healthcare provider. I just think that they kind of threaten, like a lot of these bigger companies, like they could end up being the David that beats Goliath, and all of a sudden just be this monster in the industry, and that in itself is threatening, and you got people who want to kind of suppress them and keep it down. And yeah, while and I should say this too, like just shorting a stock isn't going to necessarily make the company do worse, right? Like CLOV as a company, they have cash on hand, and they don't necessarily need the share price to be at 10 or 15 or 20 or anything like that. That doesn't help them in regards to their day-to-day operations. Like if this stock goes down to $5, that's not going to hurt CLOV's growth. Now, I will say this: if and when they need money and they want to release shares into the market to fundraise because they need some capital to expand, that's when the share price really comes into play for them. But if they don't plan on actually selling any shares, let's say for the next year or two, the company could care less what the price is trading at. And I think that's something that a lot of people miss when they think about, like, why isn't the company doing this to drive up the stock price? Why isn't the company doing this to drive up the stock price? Like, companies, for the most part, the stock price is not really consequential to them until they're ready to fundraise and go offer more shares. Holiday option says lead us to a green informed day. I hope so. Let's see. But Tarheel's coming on too, and usually he's got the better luck than me. So, which reminds me, I'm gonna turn my ringer on so I could see when he actually hits me up to get on. Ego's in the house. Good morning, Ego. I'm gonna start skipping over some of these because I'm way back. SRT, everyone's talking about the battle of 801. I want the battle of 108. Yeah, absolutely. Volume today, Patrik, is pretty damn low. I think we're at 1.8 million right now. We've been seeing volume decreasing for a while, and I think that could be a good thing, right? I mean, volume's decreasing. They haven't been able to drive this stock down. I mean, we've been holding our ground now for a while. And so at that point, to me, it just seems like, we're kind of like coiling up and being suppressed, and we're almost ready to make that big pop. It's just going to see a little bit of buying pressure that's going to make this thing take off. Is share lending only for margin accounts? I have a Schwab cash account. My understanding is, yeah, if you're holding a stock with cash, they cannot loan out your shares. That's my understanding. However, if you just wanted to be certain of it, you can always just send a message. I think through even like the Schwab app has that little like instant messaging thing where you could just send a message and just ask like, hey, I just want to make sure my shares aren't being lent out, and if they are, you could tell them you don't want them lent out. Like I don't want to turn off. I want to turn off lending, either just on Clove or on all my shares. That I'm holding. Let's see. Yeah, Thomas says if AMC runs past 40, yeah, AMC has been very similar to Clove in the whole options chain setup. Like more so than GameStop. I really feel like AMC kind of has that potential where at any moment it could hit another gamma squeeze. And that's kind of been the driving factor, I think, with AMC over the past 6 months and that's what we keep seeing these setups in Clove too, where it's like every month there's the potential to where if you just get past this certain dollar amount, the stock's going to take off. And then every time it goes up, it comes down and settles at a higher floor. So, yeah. Fluffer says, I sold BNGO at 14, looking to get back in soon. So did I. So I got out somewhere around like 14-ish, in that range, like way back in like January, February-ish. Got out, and then unfortunately, I decided to jump back in way too early. Where we at? So I got out of BNGO somewhere in here on this run up, or actually I think it might have been back here because it was like around the $14, $13 range. But then I came back and jumped back in right here at 750, I think it was, thinking that this upward momentum right here as we cross through some of these levels, and then we hit this resistance and fell back down. And I did add on down here in this level, bringing down my cost average at 450. But I was really looking at like this run right here as we broke through these resistance levels to like we were gonna go take a stab at like 15 again, and I think that it's going to, um, and I think it's going to somewhat soon. I really do. I think that and this was such a huge run up that now we have kind of like this huge consolidation level, but it's really starting to consolidate, and I think it's going to jump soon. Um, See, I got to change my settings on this because every time I move back, it like zooms it out for me. Okay, so and it keeps putting CLOV on the 1 minute. We could keep CLOV on the 1 minute if you guys want. I'll put it back to 5. I don't know why it keeps. All right, so let me catch up, and I think Tarheel just texted me too, so I think he might be ready. Tarheel, if you're listening, I need to make sure I get my interview mode on. Hold on. There we go. I just turned it on, so he's here. We're gonna try out his mic and see if it works. Let me see. Add on the left. What's up, man? Nope. Damn it. Nah, it's not working. You want to drop off and call back? Yeah. There's something, and it's my bad too. He hit me. He actually hit me up yesterday, like, "Hey, dude, let's test out my mic. Before we get into before I come on your show." And I ended up not getting back from camping until like super late, so we weren't able to test it out. Um, what's up, man?
What's up? What's going on?
Sorry, man. I was just saying how we were supposed to test these mics out and figure it out yesterday before the stream, but I just ended up getting back super late.
Yeah, I know. It's all right. It's the hedge funds, man. It's all the hedge funds.
But it's just
Yeah.
crazy. Just so everyone else knows, we're talking about. For some reason, when he comes on here on my stream, his mic doesn't work, and I think it has. I think it's more on my side now. I
I
mean,
think I think it might be. Did you get that RAM installed?
yeah, I did. That's why we're
Oh,
you're looking at Thinkorswim now.
oh, Jesus. Yeah. Okay, I am. What's up, everybody? Good morning. What's up, Scotty? So you feel better now that you're back on TOS?
Kind of. I'm still trying to get all my settings back in order and stuff. But yeah, absolutely. I feel
Yeah.
way more comfortable in this app. Um,
Right on.
let's see. I'm just trying to catch up in here. Target short
What's
seller got
up?
in here. All right, there we go. We're caught up. So real quick, man. So that I know I missed out on most of it yesterday, but it seemed pretty cool. Co-creator was asking like, what was the biggest takeaway, or what you think was the best part?
I don't even. I can't remember it, man. If you knew all the shit I had going on my screen, like I was just happy everybody was participating and you jumped in and I thought you were like everybody was commenting on how much energy you had last night. And I was like, yeah, I think it's because it's not like 5 a.m. You're used to seeing Coach at 5 a.m. and now he's like got some juice in his. I don't know.
Yeah, and you know
He
what
got some
else too?
energy.
I think it's a lot easier like when you're not hosting. Like
Oh yeah.
like
Oh
even when
yeah.
I did that roundtable on your channel, the last roundtable,
Right.
it's a lot easier to just kind of sit back and like listen to what people are saying and be able
You
to
know what's
respond.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I think I like hosting better than anything. But listen, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I watched a couple of your videos and I was like, I was like, damn, I knew he was smart, but I didn't realize he was that smart. And when you come in and drop knowledge bombs on us like that, I love it. I just love to sit back and let you guys do your thing, like Jasifu doing his thing last night. I had a blast just listening to you guys. So I thought you were great.
Yeah, right on. Thank you. Yeah, sometimes I think I'm just noticing like when I'm actually hosting, or even like right now when I'm on the stream,
Yeah.
you get distracted by the chat. You get distracted by, you know, you just I kind of like
We're
I
green, by the way.
nice. Nice. I should probably take all the. Yeah, what do you? I don't know. You guys, let me know. You want all these lines on the screen, or should I get rid of them? I know it's a little distracting too.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we're
No, it's
green.
all good. And we are. It looks like we are.
I had to call that out because, you know why.
And what's the market? It looks like the SPY isn't, but if you look at this, I mean, just this is obviously a 5 minute. I'm not looking for day trade, but if you look at DraftKings, ran up, came, stepped down, and now it's looking to break the high of the day. AMC's doing the same thing, just about to break the high of the day. GameStop, it looks like these are all kind of following like a similar pattern here. Not so much CLOV. CLOV looks a little bit different. I mean, we are looking to break the high of the day, but not in the same type of stair stepping form that I see in these other three down here.
Oh, be all right.
Let's see here. There was another one. Tesla, dude. Did you hear when someone texted me and said Tesla's
Yeah,
running? And
yeah, I was listening.
yeah, like I mean shit. And that's the other thing too, like with short dated options. Like obviously on Friday we were trying to pick out something that would be cheap to jump into, but I know we were talking about Tesla calls and getting the ones that expired last Friday. But I mean, shit, could you imagine
Right.
if you just gave yourself an extra week, you'd be part of this big move right here,
Yeah.
$20. I mean, a
Well,
$20 move it would be like worth about 2 grand.
I still would have sold. I mean, that was a triple top, but you gotta, especially with Tesla. I mean, if that thing goes over 700, which it did, then it could be off to the races. But I would still keep a very, very, very close eye on it.
Well, I don't have any regardless. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
you're lagging hard, coach.
am I?
Yep.
All right. But yeah, I don't have a position in Tesla at all. But I mean, shit, to be running 700, it's up $20 right now. What, $40 since Friday? That's
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's up what, like 4% today?
yeah, and that's the other thing. Percentages are a little bit different, right? When you have a stock that's that expensive, I mean, a 10% move in Tesla's $70. A 10% move in Clove is 80 cents.
Right.
So
Right.
and you make the same amount of money with both, right? So I mean, if you
That
if you're in a
that was
1%
kind
move
of
is
my
a one
point.
percent move, no matter what the share price is.
Yep. Just don't buy Wish, like Pablo.
I was going to. I was gonna get in if it crossed 1050. I was gonna jump into Wish,
I know.
and
I
I was
almost
gonna
threw my
jump into
phone at the
Pinterest.
wall.
Wish is actually kind of running right now too. It broke 1050 a little while ago, and it's up about 6%. Um, but I'm not looking to enter any. That was just for Friday to kind of jump in on something and just day trade something. But I didn't get the entry points that I wanted, so I didn't do it. Tesla was one I was trying to do, and I couldn't get filled um, for the
Take a look
amount
at
of.
MRIN right now.
Was that one moving too?
Yeah, wrong direction.
Oh, okay. So I don't know if you were listening earlier, but I was talking about potentially making a Discord server and
Yep.
kind of like not necessarily to take away from the Clove Discord or anything, but just kind of like for this group. Like we have this group that like usually comes on in the mornings and then everybody ends up on Tarheels in the afternoons, and it's like that way if we could like after we
Right.
sign off here, if someone has a question, or just even to just bullshit in the chat, like, "Hey, did you
I
see
know.
Clove just broke 850?" And then everyone could
Well,
kind of like talk, or maybe it's like I said, I always bring up Chef Daddy because he's always calling out the runners. But let's say
hey,
Chef Daddy or someone else is like, hey, I'm jumping in. Like there was one day where everybody, I feel like everybody in the chat was on NURO, and now we can still kind of communicate about that stock throughout the day because we can't do that in the CLOV Discord. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it sounds good in theory.
Yeah.
Nobody probably either knows or remembers this, but I actually started the the, the first Discord the day before Jaywalk did, and I can't tell you, I got overrun by bots like within like 2 days, and
Oh,
Jaywalk got in my, yeah, he got in my server. He's like, dude, you need this, that, the other, like all this high level computer stuff. I'm pretty good on computers, but what he does for that Discord is 24/7. I don't know if we could find somebody to maintain it, then I think it's a phenomenal idea. But I gave it up because I saw what was involved in it, and it's just it's a hard thing. It just is. I think I don't know. I mean, I know we've talked offline, and our plans continue this going forward. If we can't do that Discord, then of course we could just sign on a little early, pick some runners, that kind of thing, kind of like what you did last Friday. I
yeah.
don't know.
Well, I'm not even saying to day trade either, because like, I mean, I might not even. Honestly, one thing that I think I talked to you about this offline after that. It's like, dude, I'm gonna stick with swing trading because doing the stream, I enjoy doing the stream way too much, but doing the stream, I don't
Yeah,
have the ability to like sit here and day trade. You know, like I feel like
yeah,
I need to set up my levels. I need to be watching on the 1 minute channel. I need to be able to enter and exit so fast. And that's something that I learned on
right.
Friday when I was trying to like scramble around and look at these stocks and everything. So I mean, potentially I'd be down to like have other people come on the show and day trade, and I could just kind of like pull things
You
up.
don't,
But
do you not think, see, I sit here and I go, nah, you could do it. It's just the fact that you had a guest on and you were trying to do the chat and the stream and you were trying to day trade. I think that was too much. But I think if you just had, it was by your lonesome and you were just hanging out with the chat day trading, I think you could do it 100%.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, but then the other part of me too, and this goes back to, I don't know. I was even thinking about it afterwards. Like I don't want to get into a trade and then it's like, for instance, starting next week, I think in about 22 minutes I'd be having to sign off. You know, a little early, at least first couple days, because I want to make sure that I time my commute right, and so I'm probably gonna start. So what if I'm in the middle of a trade and now it's like, oh shit, I gotta go, and now I'm driving, and
Right.
you know what I mean? What's up,
Yeah.
Narwhal?
Yeah.
Thanks for joining. I see you saying you're going to work. Um, but so I guess I'm just gonna stick to swing trading, and at
Yeah.
least until I have the time. So and then Dan
Yeah.
saying, what's the difference between swing and day? So really just the time frame. Like if you're gonna enter into a swing trade, yeah, you might close out that position in the same exact day if it's profitable enough. But when you enter into a swing trade, you're more looking at like the stock's potential over the next couple of days, couple weeks,
Right.
couple months. With a day trade, you might be looking at just the stock's potential in the next couple minutes, and
Uh,
then you're gonna get into something, you see that it's gonna go up, you get out, and you're done, and you're not looking to hold that position at all. And that's I've been more into swing trading lately because you don't have to sit there and like stare at the ticker. Um, Real quick, Pablo
I
said he
knew,
made his
I knew if
2K
I,
back. Right on,
I
Pablo.
knew if I, I knew if I tried hard enough, I'd draw Pablo out in the chat. I got him.
And Ego, I
And I
saw
want
your
to say
message. I'm gonna hit you up as soon as we're done.
what's up to blah blah. I want to say what's up to blah blah. Can't forget my boy. So yeah, that moderator bot. I know. Trust me, I know. I don't know how to work it though. But
Yeah, not.
Pablo, what'd you make 2K on, buddy? What'd you play today? Maybe the secret is just staying off all of our shows and just hanging out by yourself.
Well, I know Pablo likes Tesla. I think, and I would imagine maybe on Tesla because Tesla's running today.
Yeah, I told him to try the reverse Pablo ETF last week, and maybe that's what he's doing. I take full credit for his wins today.
Let's see here. I'm just looking around at some of these other
I'm with
stocks.
Ago. I like Momo's, and I was talking about this. I think I can't remember. You know how it goes. I can't remember who or where I was talking about something anymore, but or what day it is. But I like playing shapes. I like playing when the market goes down in the morning and all the stocks go down in the morning. You know they've kind of hit low. You know you can kind of tell, and then I'll just load into them and wait for a bounce back and then sell them.
Hold on, this thing. I'm listening to you. I'm just still trying to get my stuff set up, and I think when I switched back over, I need to save this.
Put Pablo's comment up there.
All right, let me see.
uh,
Neo
oh
still
man,
in. Okay.
no, not that one. Not that one. You'll see it.
My wife liked the reverse Pablo too.
Uh,
Uh,
it's too early for that, man. It's too early for that. Oh, I haven't even had my coffee yet. Oh, sorry, Coach. I'll let you be professional now.
no, it's all good. I just DJ said the same thing. Sounds like my afternoon school runs a half hour after market opens. Yeah, you got to go run. You have to go run, drop the kids off at school or whatever, and you got like open trades, and you're almost getting in a wreck because your alerts are going off on your phone and stuff. I've done it. It's too hard. I used to play these runners in the mornings, and I mean it was pretty fun. Um, I gotta remember the service, but it was like a pretty decent service where it had this scanner that was built in, but I mean it was like penny stocks, right? And so it would find the penny stocks that had high volume, gap up, gap down, all that kind of stuff, and just let you know like, if it passes this point, enter, but these things would run like 50%, 100% in a day, but because they were like penny stocks and low floats, they could turn on you in a second too. So you'd have to
Yeah,
have like super tight
there's
stop losses and
there's
shit.
no chance. I'll never play a penny stock ever again. I've never actually lost money on a penny stock, but I've only played it a couple times. I'm not ever gonna do that.
It was fun. It was definitely exciting. So like every morning I'd get the alerts and it'd be like, you'd maybe have like 6 or 7 sitting there. But I mean, you'd have to like literally, and I ended up programming my Thinkorswim so that look like I don't know if I could show this right now, but buy
Because
custom with the
that
bracket
is
on it, and it
yeah,
oh there we go, stop market 1% stop loss. So basically, what I would do is come in and click at the entry point, and I had this customized thing to where
right.
if it crossed that point, I was buying the position, and I had a 1% trailing stop on it. So that way, if it just started skyrocketing, and sometimes these things would jump like 30, 40%. But then even your stop loss in a low liquid, illiquid equity like that, it's like on the way down, even if you get us, because stop losses are market orders, you get filled way down lower. Like if you were playing CLOV at 816, you might get filled on your at 803. So
Right.
it was crazy.
That is the most degenerate of all the degenerates to go in there and try to day trade penny stocks.
Oh, I don't do that shit anymore, but it was fun.
Oh, yeah. That was no, that was a compliment. That was a compliment.
it was
Um,
it was fun. Like I mean, this shit would run,
yeah.
man. It would like, you know,
Hell yeah. Hey, can I take a co-creator question?
yeah. Go ahead. I'm gonna try to fix my candles for Dan.
All right, what's up, boys? All my peoples. Co-creator saying, is there any use going over that phony Ortex and Fintel data? I 1000% disagree with the fact that Fintel is phony right now. I love Fintel. I put an ode to Fintel saying I love you last night on Twitter. And all they're doing is Ortex, I think, is getting wrong data, or they're using repo transactions to hide some stuff that they're reporting to Ortex. But you guys remember Fintel? I mean, the founder of Fintel put out a short squeeze score video where he specifically, the founder of Fintel, spoke about Clove and Clover Health. And he talked to, you remember that video, Coach?
Yeah.
So Al was giving him shit on Twitter last night, and I DM'd him like, Al, I'm like, don't mess with Fintel, man. We like them. And I was like, do you remember that video? And he hadn't seen the video. So I wanted to tell everybody who hadn't seen that video, like Fintel was our, in my opinion, they were our ally and still are to this day. And they were very responsive and nice to me back on Twitter. And I just I think they're incorporating that CBOE data, and they're just having a couple, logistical bugs of the software and getting incorporated, and But as far as Ortex goes, screw them. I don't care anything about Ortex.
Well, I think in the grand scheme of things, right? Like whether it's Fintel or Ortex, this is just my take on it. Whether, regardless of which one it is, um, they're only using the data that they're given, right? And so
Right.
it's not like, at least in my head, I don't think that like there's somebody at Ortex when the data's coming in and sitting there like, let's shave a couple
No.
percentage points off of this. It's all just data, right? Like, I mean, they're
Yeah.
getting sent like a CSV file or some shit like that, or API. They're getting data streamed to them, and it's just updating in their system. And so, I mean, Ortex I think is good because we get to see numbers from multiple
Mhm.
brokers, and like Fintel, you're only looking at one broker. I know they have a way that they're basically saying, okay, based on this data, this is what we think is coming, across the
Right.
board. But we're still, when you look at like their cost to borrow and all that, and I'm not saying that Fintel's not good either, but it's like they're all just kind of it. No matter where you go, even if you go to iBorrow Desk, everywhere is just getting a little piece of the puzzle. We're not getting everything. But I do agree with you that I think Fintel is like even like that video that they're, like you said, their owner made, and he made one a long time ago too, before the first run up, the first squeeze, and um I don't know. I think they have the consumer's best interest at heart, the retail's best interest at heart. I really do. They're
Yeah.
just they're stuck with the data that they can get. And you could tell they've been really expanding what they're reporting as well.
Yeah. I mean, they're listening. We've had a couple people point out a couple data errors. I'm sure they appreciate that. I was just saying to our boy, I was like, "Hey, listen, just go easy on them. I'm sure they know of all this stuff. We can. There's a respectful way to tell them that we see things. We don't. Not everything is a conspiracy. So I don't know. I got Fintel's back. That's all I'm saying. Because when they put out that video, I mean, they didn't have to put CLOV in there, and they did for whatever reason. So
Now,
let's keep that going.
now, when was that video?
Oh, you didn't see that? That was it was about a month ago. I think it was pre-squeeze. It was
Yeah,
when
oh,
the
that's
short.
the one you're talking about. Yeah. No, I saw that one. I thought that
Yeah.
was something recently. Yeah, no, that
Huh.
was it was
Yeah.
definitely pre-squeeze. I want to say it was back in like May.
Yeah, that sounds
Um,
right. But yeah, the founder just basically hopped on there, talked about the reporting of the different brokerages, how they get data from interactive brokers, and then what the deal with the short squeeze score is. And I mean, he spoke about CLOV specifically because I think we were leading the charge at that point. We were number one
yeah.
up on there.
So I'm just zooming out real quick because we just saw a big. I switched it to a 1 minute view just so we could see it. We just saw kind of a big drop, and so did GameStop and AMC. Basically, everything did.
Surprise, surprise.
What I'm kind of shocked about, like I've been watching DraftKings now because I started, watching it as one of my plays, and it seems like DraftKings is starting to move with some of these. I mean, because look, I mean, like again, I'll look at the SPY, and it's going up in the last three candles, and it's only kind of like these heavily shorted stocks that are seeing the same drop, and DraftKings seems to be dropping with these stocks. So, um,
It's all the same stocks. I mean, we're all running together.
I didn't think DraftKings was part of that, but I mean, I'm looking at my screen like
Maybe
Tesla.
maybe we made a part of it, Coach.
Oh yeah, they're the hedge funds are watching my videos. Oh
Maybe
shit,
they
he's
was.
he's on he's on
Listen,
DraftKings.
I will say I'm not. I won't name names, but I spoke to a very intelligent individual sometime within the last 3 weeks. I'll tell you that. And this individual said 100% he was having internet problems, and he swore to me up and down the hedge funds were like sabotaging his internet. I was like, okay, sounds good. I was like, yeah, they made my milk sour in my refrigerator too.
Yeah, Tesla,
That's
dude. Tesla's at 725 right now.
Um, yeah, they're running. They're running.
All right.
But again, I think they're like up what, like 4%, 5%. So, but good. That was a huge threshold for them to get past that 700 number. So I'm surprised, honestly. They've got a lot of competition coming out. They just said that they're gonna allow other EV companies to use their supercharging stations. I don't know if it's all of them or what capacity, but I saw that on Brian Feraldi's Twitter, so I'll take his word for it because I trust him. Thomas is saying, "Hey Tarheel, I'm starting to tag all major financial media companies on CLOV chat versus SEC. I think the way forward may be to get media involved as SEC is a sloth." I love that idea, and I tagged them in a tweet a couple days ago. I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to or not, but I want them to look at those repo transactions for hiding short interest, naked shorts, and FTDs. So I think we need to stay on them. AMC did a great job of staying on them. AMC, you know what they were good at? They were good at making hashtags happen. They would all come up and organize and say, all right, this week we're going to do your job SEC was one of the hashtags, I think it was. So I think that's a great idea. Labeling all the media institutions as well.
Yeah, that's where we need more users, more active users, I should say. Like, I know Discord plays a big role in that, right? Like, because then you can kind of like get information out quicker. But even on the subreddit, that's the important thing about like building the community up, right? So
Yeah.
the more people we get in there, and if you wanted to start like a hashtag type thing or anything like that, but you need the participation of it. Um, so I'm just looking around here. It looks like AMC crossed under on the MACD. GameStop never really got going on MACD. Same thing with DraftKings went under. CLOV is still holding. I don't know what necessarily that means, but CLOV is still trading above on the MACD.
Are you
Even after that
what
last drop.
are you on the 1 minute?
5.
Yeah. It just shows we're still in an uptrend if
Yeah.
it's a green bar. Even though we might see like a temporary move below, um, or downward, I should say. If you got green MACD bars, it's still just saying you're in a strong uptrend.
There's the 1 minute. I just switched it to the 1 minute. I kind of like watching the 1 minute with this now that I'm back in Thinkorswim.
Yeah, yeah. I would say it looks a lot prettier than yours.
Yeah.
I don't. You're right. It's all the look of it.
Let's try that out.
Yeah. What do you guys think happened with those 8 thumbs, Coach? I was doing my live stream on Friday, and I had 8 thumbs down within like 2 minutes, and then at the very end of the stream, they all went away.
They went away?
Yeah, disappeared. Gone. I read somewhere that there's you can buy bots to like do that to people's videos if you want.
But wouldn't it, like, why would they take them away? That's what I don't understand. Maybe I just don't get how the whole thing works. But you know what I mean? Like, if you came in and thumbs down
No,
something.
that's what we're saying. It doesn't appear that they were legitimate.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Let's see. Oh, that's what Pablo's asking about. What's the theory for THB having 8 thumbs down on a video and all disappear by the end of the video?
And it was like they wiped away like magic.
Huh.
I think it was a bot. I think somebody, some institution or something deployed a bot, I should say.
All right, Doc says which sorry, I'm looking through here. So which hashtag is, or which chart is CLOV? So CLOV's up here in the top left. Oh, you know what? See, I got to really get that stuff on. So like then this is GameStop over here on the right and DraftKings on the left. AMC, this one on the bottom right now is AMC, but I'll use this one to kind of flip through and just look at what else is what's out there. So this one down here will change periodically. But CLOV is top left.
You ain't shit, SEC.
You guys talking about hashtags?
Yeah, I'm reading chat, laughing.
All right, let's see. Oh, I see it right there. Blah blah said it. All right, Scotty. See you later, man. I'll probably catch you during Tar Heels later. Oh, okay. Dan says he was mentioning thumbs down and how it didn't affect the algo, so it was other people giving you thumbs downs.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
I'm gonna start doing that now. I'm gonna start thumbs down in your video when
We,
I come in.
I was
That's
gonna
how you'll
say,
know I'm there, and then I'll.
maybe one time I should see how many dislikes I can get on a video. That'd be fun.
Everybody hit dislike real quick.
Yeah, everybody hit dislike. We'll try that today. Maybe we'll see if we can do it today. Yeah. Then what are the trolls gonna do? Well, I'll say this. I don't think it hurts the algorithm, but I don't think it helps it either. So
Yeah, I think thumbs ups. I don't
yeah,
know, but I think thumbs ups, like the more thumbs ups that you get in relation to how many people are watching, is what like boosts it up
yeah,
to the top.
yeah. That's what the kids tell me.
I
The
don't know what.
likes and the dislikes buttons.
Oh, Max posting FTD data. Is it updated? If it is, I'll pull it up on the screen.
Is it up?
He just put it in the chat. Let me see.
Here, I'll pull up Fintel. I'll see if I can find it too. I did see he put something in there. I don't see it on Fintel.
Yeah, it's not on the Fintel page right now.
But the data he's posting is from the actual that's from the actual text file on the from the SEC or FINRA or whoever it is. I can't remember.
So the most recent date on here that it's kind of hard to read. Let's see. The most recent date looks like July 14th, and as of that day, if I'm reading his message correctly, it's showing 141,000.
Okay.
So not a ton of failure to delivers. But it looks like there was some other bigger days. A million shares on.
Oh, we do have it. We do have it.
Where's
It's
it at?
on I'll drop it's on shit. I don't have the YouTube pop out. Hold on one sec, I'll drop it in the chat.
What website are you looking at?
SEC.
Oh,
It's the raw data.
got you. Oh wow, Max says 19 million on July 8th.
That I haven't had my coffee. That oh yeah, never mind. That's fine. That should work. I can pull it here in 2 seconds. I keep talking into my mic. I know it's not on. Remember, guys, you don't add these together. Just a heads up.
Yeah, you want to look at the most recent number, and that's the one that that's basically what it's at right now. But there's other ways that they're able to kind of clear those FTDs, and basically which I absolutely don't understand. I mean, the only thing I could imagine is if you wanted to do it without moving the stock price would be to actually, um,
Repos.
yeah, I mean, but because you got to be able to come up with shares to deliver to the clearinghouse in order to clear those FTDs.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If I just have if I've got 5 million shares and you need 5 million shares, I'll just give those to you with the commitment in the future, 30 days from now, to buy them back at a higher price. That's a repo, and then
Mm-hmm.
you can use those. You can use those shares to go and cover your FTDs. It literally says that on page 4 of the NSCC 2021-10 document.
Yeah. No,
It's bullshit, is what it is.
yeah. Just looking at it right now. I can't
Yeah, I'm
for
trying to
some
find.
reason. I can't click your link inside of
Yeah, I can't figure that out either.
yeah, something
I can.
something having to do with the what is it? I don't know, this Ecamm Live. Like I can't click the link, but I think if you're in the YouTube you can. Um,
The YouTube. That's what I say. That's my phrase. Um,
I mean, like the
I'm
YouTube
gonna,
chat. You know what I mean?
yeah, I know. I'm just giving her a hard time. I texted it to you, and I'm gonna send it to you on Discord right now.
All right.
All right.
Josh
Here's
says, "You say they are doing all these things to not show up on the data. Do you think they are doing this? We are down because of no volume, really." Um, yeah, I mean, I think they are. Like, I think all these manipulated stocks are. They're playing all these games to basically, like, for instance, if you look at the FTDs, right? So if there was on July 8th or whatever, 1.9, or what did he say? Um, 19 million shares. There's no way that someone came in and delivered those 19 million shares, and bought
and
those
the
shares
price
up.
went down.
Yeah, and the
The price
price
went
went
down.
down. There's just no absolute way. So now, basically, all they're doing though is kicking the can and slowing it down, right? So if all of a sudden, I borrow shares, like in what Tarheel said, like I borrowed shares from somebody, and then told them I'd give them back at a higher price or whatever, down the road. I still have to go bring those shares back, because all I'm doing is, if, let's say I took the shares from Tarheel and said, "Hey, let me borrow
Exactly.
your shares to go return them," and now I go return them. So now I don't have a failure to deliver.
Yeah.
Well, now I owe Tarsheel shares, and I still have to come up with those shares to give to him. So I
Right.
still have to eventually buy shares. you know,
Exactly. One detail to that is it's not a borrow, it's a buy, it's a purchase. Technically, it's a future commitment to repurchase is what it is. Repo literally it means repurchase, not repossession.
well, I guess what I'm getting at, like, so even if it's not
You're
that case, like, let's say, like, in the case
you're
where I was saying earlier, where, like, I don't know if you were listening, but let's say,
yeah,
um, I want to go in and buy on the
dark pool.
dark pool. I need to come up with 5 million shares by tomorrow because of the failure to delivers, and I don't want to go buy them on the market. So I go into the dark pool and purchase them, and no one's selling on the dark pool. Well, the market maker has the ability to create those shares for me, right? And give me them. But now that's transferring off to him. Now he's got to come up with those 5 million shares, but now he has 35 days to do so, because
Right.
he gets 30 T plus 35. So all it's doing is just kicking the can down. But it's eventually, with any of these
Yeah.
scenarios, they
Right.
still have to go get these shares from somewhere at
Yeah.
some point.
And I mean the main important thing you're saying there is that it doesn't have to be on the dark pool or not on the dark pool. It doesn't matter where it is. If I owe you 5 million shares, I can just go get them from co-creator and then give them to you. And now I got T plus 35 on co-creators shares, right? But the main way they typically do this is through these repo transactions.
I'm looking at target short sellers real quick. So he's saying
Yeah, July
2021,
9th.
July 9th, and 1891F103.
That's crazy.
So that's
Obviously,
12 million.
you take the most recent date, but still the fact that they had 12 million on the 9th, that's incredible.
And then somehow they're saying
Oh,
that they're
Max
cut.
said 19 million on July 8th. Wow. See, I don't think any of these have been covered.
There's no
I
way,
think
not with the way that
no.
the price action's been going. I mean, because
I
in a float the size of cloves, if you were to go in and buy 19%, 19 million, that's a
yeah,
significant portion of the float, and especially when you look at like the type of volume. Yeah,
but
you can get away with buying that in on a day with 700 volume and not moving the price at all. But on these days that we've been seeing with relatively low volume,
but
that would say that what.
you can get away with it, yes, but imagine a 700 million volume day where the price trades sideways. That's what you're in effect, not you, but you're in effect saying when you're saying even with high volume, you can go in and cover these shares. Yeah, of course you can, but you're still not going to get away with it on a high volume day with the price going down or going sideways. It's going to
Yeah.
go up. Dude, this isn't even to me. It's not even a conspiracy. This is page 4 of NSCC right in our faces saying this is exactly what they're doing. They're just kicking the damn can down the road. I've never been more confident in anything in my entire life.
No, I agree with you 100%. Co-creator said use someone else in your example because he ain't loaning you shit. Oh
uh,
man.
well, fine. I'll pick somebody else. I'm blocking co-creator now. Went from mod to being on the banned list. That's it.
All right, let's see here. I'm just looking around. So you see the low volume and we are moving on pennies. Does it mean no one is selling and it's hard to manipulate because everyone is holding? Pretty much like when you see volume dry up, then when buy orders come in, you'll see, like the all of a sudden when buy orders come in, you'll see the price move higher, or lower on lower volume days. That's why sometimes you see the biggest movement in like, pre-market or after hours on stocks because I mean, just looking down here, we do seem to be seeing some resistance numbers, that like these represent 100 shares. So that's 900, 900, 2,000. But either way, if you came in and dropped, 100,000 buy order right now, you would rip through this level 2 order book and this price would probably jump up well above $8.30, just
Maybe.
immediately.
I mean, in theory, you should, right? But if they have enough shares in their supply just to counteract you, they could push you down.
Yeah.
I mean, right? Couldn't they?
Yeah. So that was kind of like that one thing about like order routing, that video that I made. But basically, when your order comes in,
Yeah.
and this is
Yeah.
where I think it really makes a difference that like market makers should be only able to make the market. They shouldn't be allowed to do anything else. And sure they could say that that's the case, but at the same time, and I'll just, like Citadel, they are a market maker that handles the majority of, retail order flow. And at the same time, the same exact owner owns a hedge fund that, oh yeah, well, we don't operate together, on it, like we're in two separate buildings or however you want to put it. But he owns a hedge fund that's short CLOV, short AMC, short GameStop. Like, how is that possible? And then that gives, and it's not just Citadel. I'm just using that because that's the one that everyone talks about. But like, I think Jane Street's another one. There's a bunch of these market makers that they're making the market, and at the same time, they have a second arm of their company that's out there shorting the stock. So, when a buy order
Yeah.
comes in, it can be routed wherever they deem necessary. So, if they want, they could
Yeah.
just,
That's bullshit.
if they have stock in their supply. So think about this: if you're a market maker, and when the stock gets down here at 798, if they start accumulating shares and now they own a bunch of shares at $8, well, now as we come over to here and buy orders are coming in, they could now start selling you the shares that they accumulated at 8 and make a 14-cent gain, and now they're not affecting the stock price. Or if they don't have any shares in their possession and more buy orders are coming in, they could choose to route you to another market maker who does have shares in their possession, or they
Right.
can route you to the dark pool.
Right.
But
Yeah. It's just all about meeting supply and demand, right?
yeah,
And
the big thing though is but I mean everything should just go on the exchange. Every single buy order to me should come straight to the exchange. There's no
yeah,
reason why a retail buy order should be
I,
routed
I
to an ATS. You
I
know,
read I read a theoretical actually I don't even know the right word for it. It was a study in I think it was done by like Harvard and the SEC or whatever, but it was about how Japan didn't allow short selling. Are you familiar with that?
a little bit, but yeah, they kind of like they shut off short selling completely or something like
Yeah,
that, and
and it didn't work. Like the thing did not work. So short selling is good if it's used correctly for price discovery and to control the supply to an extent. But what we're seeing is not controlling this. It's not about controlling the supply. What's happened is market makers have run out of supply through naked short selling, through dark pool manipulation, through everything else, and probably repo agreements too. They're just like Coach has been saying, they're kicking the can down the road. And now we're sitting on a powder keg And I'm telling you, I think if any significant volume comes in on the buy side, like if some hedge fund decides they're going to up and buy 15 million shares, I think this thing is going to absolutely explode. I don't even know if they would allow it. There's probably some stupid regulation of where they're like, oh, well, this has to be purchased on the dark pool and it has to be like filtered for, like like they do for like liquidity control when they liquidate somebody's position, when like a hedge fund's position.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm just rambling, but it
No,
pisses me off.
the only thing that I keep saying, and I think is like, you know, even if they're routing buy orders to the dark pool, like we're talking about right now, right? You're saying like this has to go through the dark pool. There needs to be someone willing to sell it on the dark pool, right?
Right.
Otherwise, that means the market maker is now taking on the liability. If they're willing to just like create liquidity and create counterfeit shares, which is
Right.
legal for them, and say, okay, like let's say Tarheel puts in a buy order for 10,000, and I'm the market maker. I take your order and say, screw that. I'm not putting this through the exchange. I'm sending this to such and such dark pool. Boom, send it over there.
Right.
Well, there's no buyer there. But what I can do as a market maker is say, okay, well, I'll take on that buy, right? Like now I'm essentially I'm going short the stock at that point because I'm creating fictitious shares and giving them to you.
Mm-hmm.
And now I basically want the stock to go down
Yeah.
so that I can
Or
make a profit off that. So
what do you think about this? They could just load them up into a giant block too, because a lot of those are block trades, right? Like
yeah.
some fund will be like, hey, I have 1 million at $8.14, right? Well, couldn't a market maker just route those into like a single block, and then it wouldn't affect the price. You wouldn't see no price action at that point.
Well, yeah, no dark pool buys and sells do not affect the stock price at all. Any
Are
any
you
of those block
okay?
trades off the market don't affect the stock price. So, because what ends up happening is they'll look at, let's say right now you wanted to make a buy in an ATS or a dark pool or something like that, and the stock is trading at $8.090 right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to buy 10,000 shares. I found a buyer over here. I'm going to put you guys together. The difference between the bid and ask right now is 1 penny. So you know what? How about you guys go 8.085? Bam, deal's done. It's over. That didn't move the stock price at all. It had nothing to do with what's going on over here in the market. And now I'll print it to the tape. It'll show up here in the time and sales, but it didn't, and it'll show up in our volume, but it didn't move the stock price at all. Because it happened off exchange. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not going to
I
do
always thought
anything.
dark pool data. I always thought dark pool data did, obviously it does get routed through the exchanges at some point, right? I always thought it did affect the price action, but I always thought that was how we would get like pinned real, like let's say like I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying this is what I thought. But I thought like if there was like 2 million shares exchanged at, we'll call it $8.20 right now, then the rest of the day we would like penny up to 8.20. Is that off?
Um,
Because it has to, like that dark pool data. I think they said I read some SEC document that says they have like 10 minutes to print it to the tape.
yeah, to print it to the tape. That way everybody else can see what
What
happened.
happened?
Yeah,
Right.
but
So it's not directly affecting the spread. I
no.
get that,
Yeah, it's
but
not
it
it's
is
not it's not going to drive the price up or down. So like a lot of times when people
right.
say like, "Oh, they're shorting us through the
Right.
dark pool." It's not actually someone going into the dark pool and hitting, a bunch of bids and taking out bids because if you wanted
Right.
to short a stock, you would absolutely come into the open market and just flood it with downward pressure of shares, and that's what would get the stock price to go down, right? But if you wanted to use the dark pool to short a stock, what you would do is like go buy your shares in the dark pool and then dump them into the regular exchange.
But there's got to be a way to fix it, like not directly through the spread, like slapping the bid or the ask. But don't you think there's like some indirect way that when it gets flowed through when it flows through the exchange, that it potentially could affect the price? Like let's say there was 10 million shares right now exchanged at $10. Like would that not affect the price?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Really?
Not at all.
Hmm.
And I could be completely wrong, but I don't. My understanding is no, because
They're
they're
just private transactions.
yeah, because the whole reason for the dark pool in the ATS is to not drive prices up or down, right? It's
Right.
the reason
Right.
why they were built was so that, if I wanted to sell you, you want to buy 30,000 shares, I want to sell 30,000 shares, and we don't want to drive the price of the stock down during that sale or
Right.
drive it up, and we want to let the market kind of continue to run, but we want to let these shares exchange hands. Then
Right.
we'll go off the current price, like 809, bam, and there's
Right.
our transaction without really screwing over the market, right? And really
Yeah.
it's for these bigger. So that's
But
why I'm saying, like, and these ATSs were all supposed to be made for bigger trades. But I mean, there's information out there, man. Like, if you go look, there was I want to say this was back in like February. Someone posted like actual dark pool data where it was like
mhm.
basically Robinhood was flowing all of their incoming buy orders straight into the dark pool. So no buy orders. If you were buying on Robinhood at the time, on, I forget, I think it was
Yeah,
GameStop, it was like
that's
not
crazy.
not one buy order went through an actual exchange like over here on like Nasdaq or EdgeX or NYSE. So no buy orders through Robinhood for that given day or whatever. I don't remember the exact time frame, but it was like they were just routing everything straight into the dark pool. But now whoever's buying on the other, or whoever's, like, you're buying from the dark pool, but what's happening now? If no one's selling on the dark pool, that means basically the market makers taking on that price action. And,
Hmm.
and just to get deeper into that, so basically what you're looking at is, let's just say it's CLOV, and we all go on right now. We're buying CLOV at $8.10. Buy, right? So now in our own brokerage accounts, we see that we have the shares. These buy orders, if they were directed to the dark pool, that means that they didn't affect the price action at all. Basically, the market maker took them on, or maybe there was other people in the dark pool that were willing to sell them, whatever it may be, but we didn't affect any price action whatsoever. But now
Right.
at the end of the day, let's say the market maker took on that action, and they're basically supplied these shares that they didn't own. All they're going to do throughout the day now is, as the price starts falling lower, right now we're trading at 810, but once the price falls to 809, 808, 807, they'll just throughout the day accumulate enough shares to end up, making up for those fictitious shares that they sold us. You know what I mean? And they're going to have to do that in the open market. They need to come up with actual shares now, to offset those buys. And eventually, or otherwise, eventually they're going to have a failure to deliver. You know what I'm saying? Does that kind of
Yep.
make sense or no? That's my
Yeah.
understanding
No.
of it. I mean, it's
No.
like,
That's exactly what I thought. Obviously, it doesn't affect immediate price action because you're not slapping bids and asks. Um,
but
but
eventually, those if those shares are being created fictitiously, right? If they're, and what I mean by that is, if you put in a 20,000 buy order and the market maker doesn't want the stock price to go up right now, and they decide to just take on that action, basically they're going short the stock now.
so
So
that's a
now,
naked short.
yes, they're going short the stock. They're basically saying,
Right.
I'm not going to route this to the markets and let the price go up. I'm going to take on a naked short position. Bam, which they're legally allowed to do. But now
Yeah.
throughout the rest of the day, they have to go in and buy those shares that they just naked shorted.
Right.
Well, I guess
Well,
they
I
don't.
mean,
They can
not that
failure to
day, but
deliver for 35 for 30. They're supposed
well,
to deliver them
they
within 2 days.
T plus two, yeah, and then 35 on the FTDs, right? And they do it all the time. I mean, they introduce supply with naked shorting. It's again page 4 NSCC and repos and SFTs. It's all right there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Dark pool's stupid. Can
Oh,
we?
yeah, I agree.
Let's agree. Yeah,
And there's so many of them too, which is just shocking. Like, it's
yeah.
not like there's just this one dark pool. It's
Well, that and they're dark for us. They're not dark for them, because they can call their buddies up. And if you haven't listened to it, like I know you don't have any time, but go listen to Confessions of a Market Maker, and that guy will talk about how they would call out dark pool trades and all that good stuff. All right, co-creator's yelling at me. He's texting me saying we're avoiding the chat.
Oh my! Oh, he's like texting you privately.
Yeah.
Co-creator said it perfectly too. They're shorting on the open market, buying in the dark pools, and that way when they're buying the stock, they're not affecting the upward pressure. But now they could sell it or short it on the. And I think that's how they get away with. That was actually going to be the second video that I make of these chalk talks. That at first I wanted to
Yeah.
explain this level two and all this kind of stuff so that you could see how that price action works. But I think
That'll
that's
be a good
exactly
one.
how they get by on SSR days when they're not allowed to short downwards. They don't need to.
Yeah.
They can actually buy
Oh
physical
yeah.
shares and just sell them into the
Well,
market.
did you know this too? They can just label a share a long share. All they got to do is label it a long share
Yeah.
when it goes through. It's that simple. But hey, I know this is your show, so I won't tell you what to do. But co-creator's getting on me about the chat.
About the chat. Let me see.
What do you
Where
think
we?
about these FTDs?
So I did notice while we were talking that I think someone had said 31 million. That's not the way it works. So if it's like 19 million on one day and 12 million on another day, that doesn't mean 31 million. What that means is, um, basically if it started with 19 and it's 12 the next day, that means 7 million got covered.
Right.
If it starts at 12 and then it goes to 19 the next day, that means 7 million more got added on. But
Right.
you don't add them together.
So
Um,
the very last day is 141,000. So that's the number.
yeah, so that means that they potentially had all been covered
Correct.
or delivered to the clearinghouse is basically what
Correct.
the FTD means. Now,
Correct.
because there's ways. See, and this is a whole longer conversation that we'll get into at some point. But this is another thing that I was gonna do on these chalk talks. I'm just trying to like lead it into it so that we have the background information to start getting into the deeper conversations. But there's ways that they can show that they covered their short positions through options too, through like married puts and things like that. But that still doesn't get them off the hook with the clearinghouse. Like you still need to deliver those shares because there's a broker out there that needs those shares. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
and
Like,
yeah, I mean, Reg Show says they have, if they go 5 days, and then another 8, they're put on the. I'm sorry, the 5 days is the threshold list, and then after 13, they have like I think it's a forced liquidation. I could be wrong on that. You were talking about fines earlier. I was listening. It could be that too. I'm just not sure. But whatever it is, it appears, or they've made the appearance that they have covered these shares and returned these shares, but I do not believe it for a second. But please, guys, don't go like the 14 million number or whatever that was is very relevant and very important, but that is not the final number. So just be careful.
so here's a question I actually started a little while ago that I wanted to get to. So, when Clove squeezed last time, did it happen at market open or after hours or PM? We'll go back and look at it right now. I want to save my setup real quick though because I keep making changes to it and I don't want it to. There we go. All right, so it was kind of a combination of both. And I'm going to take off all these studies real quick just so we can pull this up. So, if you look here, we're basically, um, we started this started on June 7th. Absolutely right. Like all of a sudden, we saw an uptick in volume that day of 125 million volume, where the previous days it was like 34, 46, 16, and then all of a sudden 125 million volume. And this started to gap up in pre-market that day. I think we went from 9 and opened that day at 946, which is pretty significant. Like that's a pretty significant gap up, and the stock continued to rise that day. But then in after hours in pre-market, this was the big one. Is we went from 1195 to 1660, and this all happened from the time the market closed on June 8th to the time it opened on June 9th. And what that did was by the time this market opened, we were so, deep into a gamma squeeze that there was no way they could have even tried to manipulate the price downward at that point. Like, we were now sitting
Right.
at 1690, and really the kind of the gamma squeeze kickoff point was kind of like 1250 ish, you know. And so by the time the market opened that day at like 1660, it was like now these the hedging had already begun, and the hedging even began in pre-market that day, from what I remember. I could be totally off, but I want to say we opened up the pre-market that day at somewhere around like 1350, and it started hedging then. I mean, and it was just ripping. And so by that time, there was no stopping it. So it was kind of a combination of everything, but it definitely started with a gap
Yeah.
up here on June 7th. That morning, we gapped up and we opened up that day at 9:38, and that's what kicked off the whole thing.
I think it got away from them, and then I think they naked shorted the hell out of it, and probably I'm not sure what happened with the options chain either. Probably something there too. But
What's that? Oh, on that run up?
yeah, because we saw such a giant wick, you know.
Yeah, so it was here we can go back since we're
It was June 9th.
yeah. So it was right around here. This was the big day, right? And then they kind of like pushed it down. So the option chain ended here at 25. And so what happened was that gamma squeeze that got us to 25 kind of fizzled out, and got us back down to 22. And then we gapped up again. So now in pre-market that next day, we gapped all the way up to 28. And then, but I think at that point, now you saw like it attempted to make a little bit of run. It got to 28.85. And then I think they
Mm-hmm.
just absolutely started hammering the hell out of it. And all of this downward pressure to where when we finished at 16 is really a lot of short profit taking as well. I mean, shit, a lot of people made a lot of big money here on this run from $6 to $28. And so you're going to have people taking profit. Now they start.
Right.
Now when we get to here, they realize like, oh shit, this isn't consolidation. This thing's dropping. People start getting out. Shorts are piling on, and I mean, then they just pushed it back down. But what they did was create a brand new short position now, right? Like now you have all these shorts piled back in, and
Right.
that's why I say for a short squeeze, it's not that one can't happen, but I think we're going to need a gamma squeeze to get us up to this point to put the pressure on these shorts to like, because if you entered a short position here at $28, a 10% gain in Clove right now isn't going to make you want to jump out. You know what I mean? Like Clove trading at $8. If we get up to 10, that's not going to make someone who shorted up here want to jump out. We need to get this price back up here, and that's when you'll really start seeing shorts get pressured out. That's my assumption, at least. I could be totally wrong, but
Yeah.
you know,
I'd rather take the other side of that coin and say we need volume and on the buy side, and we need something to kick it off that's not gamma related at this point, especially because there's weeklies now, obviously, and so the options chain's more in control with the market makers now. I personally like to think of it like if we saw 100 million volume day tomorrow, I would rather see that than the options chain get loaded up.
yeah, no, I agree, but I also think that that volume also comes from the delta hedging too, right? So it's
Yeah.
kind of like if we saw 100 million volume day that got us to 12, then all of a sudden I think you're going to see, we're probably, and I don't know if there's any way of actually pointing this out, but like let's say really right in here at the very beginning of the day, we're talking about right at the market open. If we saw 10 million volume and it was like retail and whales just pouring in to push
Yep.
us to 10 or 12, we're going to get to 100 million volume day. But at that point, a lot of it's going to also be these algorithms, and high frequency trading systems that are being forced to buy because of the initial push in volume.
So that 750 million volume day, the two of them, you think that was hedging? It's a lot of hedging.
I think it was a lot of high frequency trading, just trading back and forth too,
Back and
right?
forth. Yeah.
I mean they have their own algorithms and stuff that when they see a price going up, I mean yeah, it's a lot of hedging, but if you look at like the option chain, right?
Right.
If we were to see a big jump right now in the option chain, and I'll pull up this TRADYTICS. I know we're past 8 o'clock, but
Well, I
I
mean,
think this is
we could find out, looking at the delta, how much they hedged, right, versus the
yeah.
open interest.
So, but I mean, so let's just say, like, I'll pull this up real quick, and we don't have to go like extremely into this, but I'll just pull up like the biggest ones. Uh, 4 million, and I'm just going rough. 10 million, 2, so 12, 14, 18,
So I can't really see that. What day is that?
20, 30. So I mean, so let's just say, just to get to, let's say, like 1550, if all of those get 100% hedged up to
Hmm.
1550,
Well, they go they
that's
go
almost
point
like
five,
30
right?
million shares right there.
But don't they go point five delta at the strike price?
Yeah, but I'm saying, but right now we're like, if we get up to 1550, we're gonna see all these, everything prior to that is gonna eventually
Yeah.
end up being 100% delta. So you're gonna end up seeing
Right.
that's about
Right.
30 million shares right there. And that's gonna, that buying drives you up. So by the time we get up to, let's say, like 25 where we were before, yeah, everything I just named is now 100% hedged, and that's you're looking at probably 100 million in volume just off the hedging, right?
No.
And then you
So I have
have
a
your high
question for you.
frequency trading that's trading back and forth in between there with algorithms and shit. And then you have your retail that's jumping in, and you have shorters jumping
Yeah.
in, and but that 700 million volume was insane. I mean,
But
that's
let me ask you this: like the options chain right now, the delta for $8 strike is 0.56, right?
where are we looking at? Which it depends.
Uh,
It all depends where you're looking at though. Like,
August 6th.
okay, yeah, so it's 0.60 right now at the $8 strike. So that means 60% of these have been hedged. But if you go out to like August 20th, it's all dependent. So at August 20th, it's 0.58. Um, you know,
Right.
you go out
Yeah.
even
So there.
further.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's even more.
Yeah, I mean,
I
so
was just saying it doesn't achieve a one delta until when? Until it's like a dollar past the strike price or what? Because
it
it
all
looks like
depends. So the closer we are to expiration, right? So like you could look at,
right.
like, this is this week's weeklies. You got to go about $3 in to get to a true
Six.
1.0. But I mean, shit, even just a dollar in at $7, it's already at 0.92. $6 is
Right.
0.99. So it's kind of fully hedged a dollar in because it's this week. But now if you go out to the end of the month, the August 20th, you got to be what, one, two, three, $4 in before you get to a point nine.
Right.
But that's where us moving to $12 right now would at least get all of that shit, everything from August completely, everything prior to that, like almost completely hedged. And it just, but that's the whole function of it. That's how it works. And so when we gapped up that day from, I don't remember the exact numbers now, but where we gapped up to like $16, that threw everything previous. Can you imagine if we opened up tomorrow at $16? It'd be like everything we just talked about. All those different ones would be coming in at a 1.0 delta, and that's 30
Mhm.
million shares that just need to be bought up right now by the algorithms.
Hell
you
yeah.
know, and that would eventually push us past like that $28 mark. And to me, getting past 28, now you can be absolutely certain that anyone who's holding a short position in this stock is underwater, because we don't know who covered their shorts and who added on and who piled in at the top. There could be plenty of people that shorted this stock at 28, and they have
Mhm.
no incentive to get out right now.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd love to see the math on it. I really would. Like, I obviously it's a huge thing. I just love to see it broken down. I don't have the brain for that, but
yeah. No,
I like
I'll,
it.
I'll start. I'll start looking at it. It's so hard though, because there's so much stuff that affects
I
like the
know.
delta and everything
You
else.
just think you think there'd be a website that already put that together for you of saying like, if the price goes to $11 right now, this is how many shares based upon the weeklies and all the expiration dates, right? How many are gonna be hedged at $11? Like if we run up to $11, like wouldn't that be cool info to see?
Yeah, so this TRADYTICS somewhat, and I'm kind of looking at, but they do this total gamma exposure, and basically what they're saying is for every 1% increase in CLOV right now, so every
Uh-huh.
1% increase in CLOV, that what 40,000 shares, I think 40,000 shares are going to be bought. Now, obviously, this number will change, but for every 1% increase in CLOV throughout the day, for an additional 40,000, a net differential of four, because 40,000 is 0.04 of a million, right? Point four
Uh,
would be 400,000, so 0.04, yeah. So about
yeah.
40,000 shares. So, if we see a 10% increase in CLOV, which would basically put us at $9, that's almost 400,000 that would be bought, and then that's just going to continue to go up, right? So, and then that gamma exposure is also a fluid number. Like that's going to continue to go up and down. And I hella stopped looking at the chat too. My bad. I'm not even. Let me see. Um, Thomas says, "Why don't shorters have to declare who they are?" They do. They're supposed to report it, but the problem is they only report it like every 2 weeks. Is that what it is?
Yeah. That they actually, I'm trying to think about this. Is it options they have to they declare, and short positions they don't have to? That's right, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think regardless, you're supposed to, but it's self-reported, right? And I think they
Right.
only report
Yeah.
those short positions like every
They
two
don't have
weeks.
to, but they don't have to,
Well, you
right?
could lie about it, I guess, and pay a fine. But I think they have to like every 2 weeks.
Okay, I can never remember.
So like with
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're
yeah. The Nasdaq. You're talking about the Nasdaq report. Yeah,
yeah,
every
so
two
like if
weeks.
you're that's why that short interest report comes out every 2 weeks, because that's like they're taking that data based off, that's completely based off of who's reporting their true short positions, which is absolute bullshit. You know what I mean? Like if you go in and buy 100,000 shares of a company, you need to go report it like within a certain amount of days, right? You have to file your paperwork with the SEC and all that. But if I open up 100,000 share short position in a stock, I have 14 days now to go report that. And basically, even if you think about like the theory behind this, right? So I only have to report what I actually borrow. So if think about it like filing for your taxes, right? The government, you get W-2s from everybody and all this other stuff, and it all needs to add up. So if I'm borrowing 50,000 shares from Interactive Brokers, and I'm borrowing 100,000 shares from Schwab, and I'm borrowing them from everywhere, if I still have these open positions once the filing deadline comes around every 15 days, I have to report it. But now, if I could kind of manipulate that data, because I know I have to report tomorrow, so all of a sudden now I can go borrow some shares from Co-Creator and go give them back to Schwab and
He
Interactive
won't do
Brokers.
that. He won't
Yeah, I
allow
know he
that.
won't. He won't lend them to me. But now I could go do that. Now I could, or at the same time, what they do is if they, like that through married puts, and I don't have time to get into this one, but we'll definitely talk about it. Now, basically, even though I do have a borrow from Interactive Brokers, I could show when I do my reporting every 15 days. No, I'm not short this stock anymore. Look, I have all these married puts over here. I have this, right? They have different ways of hiding that when they report the data. And it's just ways for them to basically lie and manipulate the data that gets sent to Ortex and the data that gets sent everywhere else. Um, Co-creator has a good idea. Comments and answers would be easier to handle if you each dedicated a specific time for that. You know what? I usually do. The only time that I haven't is like Mondays and then last Fridays. I feel like whenever I have a guest on, it's hard for me to like
Yeah,
keep track of both. Um, and I will
I was I
absolutely.
was I was texting in the chat, and I was texting Co-Creator too. I was telling him to be nice.
Let me see here.
So in Frex saying who has the largest position in Clove, you're gonna need Fintel paid subscription for that, and
I
Coach
got it
has
right
it.
here. Let me see.
Yeah.
I know it's at the bottom of the page. So I think we pulled this up on Tarheel's show one time. But so basically, these are the reported short positions. So 300, 295 for Cutler Group. 429,000 for Citadel, 700,000 for Jane Street, and 1.2 million for Saskawana. Just so you know, Saskawana, Jane Street, and Citadel are Jane Street and Citadel are also market makers. And Saskawana, I don't know if they're a market maker, but at the same time, all three of these are some of the biggest players in like the AMC and GameStop short positions as well. And it does look like those are Group One Trading has a pretty decent size position as well. But yeah, those are the biggest ones.
But we don't know who's got puts on it.
Yeah, well, so it looks like it says right here, like for instance, with Citadel, they're only claiming their put position, right? Four
Right.
hundred twenty-nine
But
thousand.
that's what they don't have to report. They don't have to.
Got you. All right, I gotta sign off. It's 8:12 now. I feel like because I stayed on for so long, I may have killed this CLOV momentum. Usually. But no, it looks like we're trying to break out of this high point of the day, which is like 820. That's a double top now, right? On the 1 minute chart. I mean, we kind of caught resistance there. So, and it looks like a pretty decent size sell wall at 819. Not major, but about 11,000 shares. So they're trying to keep us down right now. Not let us get this breakout. But I am closing on a green day, which I think is
Yeah, you're welcome.
yep. Tarheel brought me the luck. But yeah, so
Coach,
thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you, Tarheel. You want to add anything before you take off?
I was just gonna say you're the best, brother. I appreciate you, and thanks for hopping on last night. Love you guys. Love Clove fam. I'll see you guys this afternoon. I'll let you close the show out. Have a
Well,
good
no,
day,
no, no.
brother. Huh?
Hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
Real quick.
yeah.
Your special that's happening this week. Maybe if you want to
Oh,
just throw it out there.
yeah. So Jonah Lupton, the host of the 2021 FinTwit conference, October 8th through the 10th in Orlando, is coming on my show on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Power Hour, and it's a big deal, guys. So if you can be there, tell your friends, tell your kids, tell your grandmas, tell everybody. Let's get some people on that stream.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, bro. I'll be watching your show later on too, and I'm just gonna sign off right now too. Thank you guys. I appreciate everyone's support, and thank you for coming on. Hope to see you guys tomorrow, and make sure you check out Tar Heel this afternoon.
See
All
you,
right,
brother.
bro. Yep.